Hello friends, in this video I will repair this vintage radio. This has an interesting story, and as you can see it comes with an original belt. I will take the belt out. This was very expensive at this time and was very reliable. Was a masterpiece. It's in pretty good shape because this is older than me. It's made in 70s in Germany. Now let's make a test. Volume is at maximum. I will put on FM and I will power on. So starts singing the music, and after few seconds music is off. I can hear the noise. The amplifier is working. What I don't like is that doesn't have any lamp or LED. Now let's find the problem and solve it. So that's the inside of this radio. It's very strong. It's high quality. Now let's take a look at the inside. Please write a comment and tell me what you think about this kind of vintage radios, if you have and if you like. Now I will tell you what I will do. This is a volume potentiometer, and I will check if the volume potentiometer has a signal. I will use this tool. It's an active speaker. I will solder this wire to the ground. Now let's power the radio. Now the sound is off. First of all, I will check on this DIN connector. So this it's made from two parts. That's the radio frequency part and the audio frequency part. It seems that the radio frequency is working good. Now let's check the signal on volume potentiometer. So on the output of this volume potentiometer we have signal. This is the output. I studied the schematics, and now you can see the schematic of the audio part of this radio. It's very simple. It's made from 5 transistors and should last forever. But unfortunately this one it's not working anymore. So this is the output potentiometer. This is a capacitor. You can see this, it's a PCB perpendicularly on the main PCB with resistors. I will show you. And this one is the first transistor of the amplifier. As you can see, there is audio signal on the base of this transistor, but on collector and emitter there is no signal. I can bet that is a problem with this transistor. Now let's check other transistors. So it seems that after this first transistor we don't have the signal. Now let's measure the voltages on this transistor. So this is the output of the potentiometer, 0 volts. This is a capacitor, 4 volts. It's good. Now that's the base of the transistor. It's 4 volts. One of these is the emitter, and one of these is the collector, but I can't tell you now. But it's obviously that is a problem here, because we have 0 volts on one pin, 2 volts on other pin, and 4 volts on third pin. If this transistor is good, we should have a 0.7 voltage between 2 pins. Now let's take out this transistor and test it. This is the transistor. This is the transistor. I think it's the problem. It's BC309. It's collector, base and emitter. Let's put it on tester. This seems good. It seems the problem is not with this transistor. I found these two equivalent transistors. It's more powerful than original one. Let's test it, if the pins are the same and if it's good. It seems they are good and they are equivalent. It's a small challenge to put this back, because it's not enough space, and it's very complicated to take this out because of these wires. Now let's make the first test. Let's power on. Now let's power on. It seems now it's working good, but I am not allowed to play music because it has copyright. Now it seems it's working. Let's measure again the voltage on first transistor. So we have the base, 0.7 volts. Emitter 0.6 volts. No, that's the emitter, that's the base, and that's collector. Now the voltages are good. So I've written down the voltages on these transistors and I check on the schematic. And now I am checking the capacitors. Here on this capacitor should be 4 volts, but it isn't. So I will take down this capacitor to check it. So this is a strange capacitor. Let's power on without this capacitor and measure the voltage. Without this capacitor, the voltage is good, it's 4 volts. And I bet that this output voltage, so now the voltage is 4 volts. And I think the problem was this capacitor. Now let's check again. The base is 4 volts. Emitter 2 volts. There is still a problem somewhere. Now let's test this capacitor. It sees a resistor. And this one, it's also this is a short circuit. Let's see what tester says. So it seems the problems was these capacitors. There is another capacitor in this area and I have to test it. This capacitor is good, so I bet that when I will replace those two capacitors, this will work perfectly. Now I bet this is working perfect. Yes. The volume is good. Let's tune. Now let's check the voltages. On first capacitor there are 4 volts and second capacitor 3.5 volts. Now let's measure the voltage to the output. It's 5 volts. Now let's measure supply voltage, 12 volts.
De 4K 108 cm la 1499,90 lei și aer condiționat LG 12 BTU la 1900.
Now it seems it's worked perfectly and I have to put all back. And if you have a radio like this, I bet that yours is not working. And if you can save time if you replace these two capacitors, 100 micro at 16 volts. I put 100 micro at 50 volts to be sure. Now let's make the final test.
Cu drag, oriunde m-aș afla. Mulțumim tare mult, Sebastian. Bună, Raluca din Ungheni, Dâmbovița. Fac o plăcintă cu mere și ascult.
If you have any questions, please put it in a comment. and if you made it so far, please give a big like and subscribe. Bye.